So we're 273 days in. That comes to a temporal pincer 273. And let's talk about what I thought yesterday's black swan would be. And I'll give you all my reference points of why. And maybe I was just a little bit early. So who's in the chat? Are they going to let us talk about this? Let's see. Who's in the chat? Let's see. Is anyone in? Knock knock, who's in? Okay, so here comes the rain. Okay, looks like people are coming in now. Here we go. That's a bit more like it. Got 19 thumbs up. A subtle com for yesterday. 101 in the chat. That's immortal. Dead or door. Significant things happen there on the way, on the journey. Okay. And we've got 192 in the chat now. There you go. That's a com. 192. Which was yesterday, October 19th, and 34. 30 days forward, we'll talk about that. 46 is best. Okay, we're in. We have action, we have liftoff. Okay, folks, so here we go. So yesterday, well, today is 273 days into President Trump's presidency. 273 in numbers is a temporal pincer. And yesterday was the day that I was telling you why I thought the black swan would occur yesterday. And I'm going to give you my reasonings for that. And maybe I was just a bit early, but I'll let you decide. Okay. We've got 241 in the 241 is plutonium 241. 241 is a very important number in all of this. 62, JFK, 62 years ago will be soon. 241 is actually President John F. Kennedy, 241. There you go. Okay. All right, folks, here we go. So, all last week I was telling you there's a black swan coming. And I believe that, and believed that, and still do believe that. And my three statements there will make sense as I go through this. So you'll be asking me, well, what was the black swan that I was predicting? And the reason for that, or the reasons for that. So I felt that yesterday we would see a black swan event, and I'll give you two pieces that I was hinting at, but I didn't want to blow the cover of it. I just wanted it to happen. The Dark Knight Rises. So you know in the Dark Knight Rises where the NFL stadium collapses in on itself. It's detonated, and there's a big massive sinkhole basically leading to tunnels and everything else underneath the ground, and then Gotham goes into a lockdown for about 3 months. So 206 in numbers comes to the Dark Knight Rises. It comes to quantum physics. It also comes to Trump the Atomic Kid in Back to the Future with 88 miles per hour. You see the Atomic Kid as one of the cinema films that they were showing. Okay. Another place I didn't tell you, I purposely didn't tell you because I was like, I want this to happen just as much as anyone else. But they were telegraphing it in all the movies that I talk about, in all the pieces of information I give you, and in the numbers, and in the downloads. So the place I didn't reveal to you was Circuit of the Americas. Okay. Circuit of the Americas is in Texas, which is the racing track. And yesterday they had the Formula One race at the Circuit of the Americas. And Circuit of the Americas comes to 206 in numbers, which comes to the Dark Knight Rises. So I was like, okay. And this came to me, like I said, I knew about the Dark Knight Rises with the collapse of the stadium, but then the Circuit of the Americas came on my radar probably 5 or 6 weeks ago. Because I've been watching the film F1 and they talk about the black swan. And I've seen that film 27 times. 27 is JFK, 27 is red, 27 is code. And I was like, I know there's something to do with this film. There's many things in that film. The other reason I thought that it would take place is because a Black Swan event is 153, which is Interstellar, and Matthew McConaughey appears in that film. The female lead with him is Anne Hathaway. Anne Hathaway is in The Dark Knight Rises, in the Batman film, and she plays Catwoman, and she talks about the storm. And in Interstellar, she is called Brand. Brand is 39. 39 is featured in the life of Chuck. They show 39 when they go up to NASA in the truck, when they get the coordinates, when they do all the future comms from themselves coming back, and they get the coordinates to go to NASA, and then the whole journey starts. It triggers it all off again. And 39 is also COTA, which is COTA, which is Circuit of the Americas. Okay, do you remember yesterday and the day before, or at least it was either yesterday or the day before, or both, and over the last couple of weeks I've mentioned him a few times. I mentioned Matthew McConaughey playing Joseph Cooper in Interstellar. Does anyone put your hand up, give us a thumbs up if you remember that? I've mentioned Matthew McConaughey. There you go, Austin, yeah. So I mentioned Matthew McConaughey playing Joseph Cooper. Joseph Cooper is red team, blue team, which is this whole thing of the temporal pincer movement, going forward and backwards. Knowing that the blue team comes back from the future, knowing everything, and is able to work back and complete the mission. And we in red team, in this timeline, go forward. And sometimes, which it talks about in Tenet, we have to activate and do things, and then... Oh, hey, Victoria. Bless you. Thanks for your super chat. I appreciate that. Thank you. Sometimes we have to complete a mission, and then it doesn't trigger. And I was saying that yesterday and the day before, and sometimes that happens with these things, but it doesn't mean the other thing isn't going on. So, Joseph Cooper's 145, who's played by Matthew McConaughey. Brad Pitt's character in F1, the film, the movie, is Sonny Hayes. Sonny Hayes is a 145, and I did a tweet about 2 weeks ago putting both Matthew McConaughey and Brad Pitt, their two characters from the two films, together, because they're both wearing helmets. One is a space helmet, the other one is a Formula One racing car helmet, and I put them together, and I said 145 is a red team, blue team, Sonny Hayes, and also Joseph Cooper. So, who turns up at the F1 Austin, Texas Grand Prix yesterday? I was thinking maybe Brad Pitt might turn up because of F1, but Matthew, there you go, Matthew. This is Matthew, just someone called Matthew. Thank you. Someone with Matthew in the chat, a subscriber, has just come up, Matthew. So Matthew McConaughey actually turned up at the Grand Prix yesterday in Austin, Texas. So I was thinking there's going to be a swan event there. There's going to be something under the ground. A sinkhole will appear. So as I'm decoding, I'm doing the red team job, completing the decode, and then letting the blue team do what they've got to do. But that was a white hat nod of showing Matthew McConaughey. They don't even say his name, but they put the picture up on the Twitter page of Circuit of the Americas. And that's why I was giving you clues the other day when I was talking about Battery Park in New York and Manhattan. I also talked about circuits, time circuits on in Back to the Future. I've got my 88 t-shirt here. This is another one that led me to think that they're going to do something there. Is in The Dark Knight Rises, I retweeted the video that I did well, I've done it a few times, but there's the video of The Dark Knight Rises before the football stadium implodes. The posh seats. Hey Michelle, thanks for your super chat, I appreciate it, thank you. The posh seats of the mayor and all the dignitaries, they're in the private executive box, and it's box 322. 322 comes to Military Industrial Complex 322. It's the Skull and Bones number. And so Nolan is saying this is a hit on this lot. and then they implode the stadium, and then tunnels, and they go into a whole thing of the storm effectively, and lockdowns, and even Bane 22, the Tom Hardy character, gives kind of a Trump-esque speech about giving power back to the people. So there's the double comms on that. But yesterday was day 292 of the year, 292nd day of the year, 292. If you add the word day 30, day 292 comes to 322. So I was like, they're telling us when that is. The pinpoint day of that actually taking place is then. And then October 19th in numbers comes to 192, which is a super important number. One of the reasons for that, the first reason is it's because it's Ivanka Trump's full name. 192 is Ivanka Marie Trump, 192. And I got my numbers when my cousin Paul passed away, when I met Ivanka Trump, and also a girl who I'm just referring to as Checkmate. Her birthday was yesterday, which is 192, which is October 19th. And then also someone else very significant in this timeline is Michael Gambon. Dear Michael Dumbledore, his birthday is also October 19th. And then another person's birthday, October 19th, is John Lithgow, who plays Donald in Interstellar. And when Joseph Cooper, 145, Sonny Hayes, 145, Red Team, Blue Team, 145, goes out into the stars, into the stratosphere, leaves his children behind and tries to save the planet, Donald is played by John Lithgow, and his birthday in real time is October 19th, 192. And so I was thinking, well, and also from Charlie Kirk assassination, they did the comms on in Snake Eyes. Charlie Kirk assassination coincides with the film The Life of Chuck. The Life of Chuck is 132. They talk about the number 39. I was like, there's Brand. There's Amelia Hathaway. Amelia, played by Anne Hathaway, who's Catwoman, stroke Batgirl in The Dark Knight Rises. President Trump's already been talking about Amelia Earhart, so that's a reference to that character as well. Excuse me, I've got a bit of apple. The Big Apple. Had an apple before the show. And her name is Brand, 39, and she's the last character you see in Interstellar. And even Murph Cooper says Brand, 39. And 39 is COTA, Cotta. And also, if you do Circuit of the Americas 206 plus Brand, or Circuit of the Americas 206 plus Cotta, the abbreviation, it takes you to 245. 245 comes to the Wolf of Wall Street. The RFK number plate, which I did a code on a few weeks ago, is in the Wolf of Wall Street. 245 is currency revaluation. Thomas Sidney Bushnell, my full name, is currency revaluation 245. And Matthew David McConaughey, his full name is 245. And he's in the Wolf of Wall Street. And he's the character, one of the characters I've been mentioning. The effect of the Swan didn't detonate in Austin, Texas yesterday like I thought it would. Another one they did just a few days ago, I talked about the film The Final Purge, which I'd never seen before, but it popped up on the TV. I told you to go and watch the opening credit. I need to dig out that. I've got a recording of it somewhere. I have to put it up. But they go into an emergency broadcast and into a lockdown because of the purge. And I left this bit out because I didn't want to be too obvious about the location of the Circuit of the Americas. Guess where they say in that film that this purge takes place and the emergency broadcast? They say it's in Texas. So I was like, everything's pointing towards it. And then my friend Lindsay, she put a code out just an hour or two before this race started yesterday. And she said the only Q post with October 19th, the Q post says, buckle up, Q. I was like, well, buckle up. That's what you do in a racing car. In a car, you're driving, you buckle up, you put your seatbelt on. And I was like, here we go. So there's other reasons as well that will come to mind why I thought it was then. But I felt it was my job to guide you, to give you the heads up that something's coming, and also not to blow the cover. But I also said in one of the videos, I said, well, once it happens, you'll be able to see all the proof. I can give you my proof, just like we're at school. I can give you my my rough drawings on, if I was drawing a picture, I can also give you my mathematic calculations and rough work so you can see why. And that, because it's that, I'll be able to do it even if it didn't get triggered. Even in the film Tenet, they say no one cares about the bomb that didn't go off, only the one that did. And so that was a subtle nod when they photographed Matthew McConaughey. Didn't even put his name in there. You'd have to be looking at that Twitter profile to even look at it. So if you search for Matthew McConaughey, you're not going to find on the Cotter Twitter page, he's not going to come up in the search. But I started following them on TikTok and on Twitter just a few days ago, and then hence it came up. I was like, so there he is, Matthew McConaughey. And I didn't even know his numbers until just before the show, 2:45. So the other thing with that is if you do Matthew McConaughey 205, 205 comes to a Q post. And guess who's featured on the Q post 205? I've just put it up on Twitter, but you can have a look after the show. It's the beautiful Ivanka. They have a picture of Ivanka. They don't actually put her name. Again, that's the thing. They don't put her name. So you have to be on the trail. So it's quite selective. It's like you can't do the search and it'll come. Maybe AI would find it as a picture. But if you actually just type in the name, Ivanka Trump won't come up. But it's her picture. And then it says, death to the triumvirate. And that's talking about the financial collapse in terms of the House of Saud, Soros, and what was the other one? Was it the Rothschilds or the Vatican? Can't remember. It's ages ago since I even thought about it. But it's the three financial pillars of the cabal. So Soros, the House of Saud, and then the other one, I think is it the Rothschilds, or the Vatican, or anyway, you'll know what I'm talking about. But when you do the numbers on death to the triumvirate comes to 33 in numbers, which comes to death to the 33. So they're saying that, but also death to the triumvirate in numbers, when you spell it fully out, comes to 320. And 320 comes to liberty enlightening the world, and it also comes to 262 plus XRP. And in the film Sneakers 92, Hamilton 92, Reverse 92, Manhattan 92, The Joker 92, it says, or it shows 262 XRP. XRP is 58. Ivanka in numbers comes to 58. I've been telling you for a long time that all of this is very important about Ivanka. So death to the triumvirate comes to 320, which comes to 262 XRP. And how are they telling you it's XRP? It's Ivanka, 58. Ivanka's name is 58 in numbers, and it's star 58, and it's also Nessara 58. So XRP is the token for Nessara. That's what they're telling you, see. That's what it is. That's how it works. And we've got the 800 number. the 800 number, you've heard about that if you've been following the RV for a long time. We've got 800 in the chat right now. See how all this works, folks. So my point is yesterday I fully felt something would go off. Now, after seeing it all and then getting the extra pieces of information, I'm like, okay, it got us to the next beacon. So this whole thing of completing and breaking the matrix, this is the biggest puzzle ever in the history of mankind, isn't it? We're decoding and breaking the matrix. We're like nodes on the blockchain. Blockchain is 97. October 78 plus 19 comes to 97, which is blockchain, which is also crypto, 97, which is also beautiful. And Ivanka is certainly beautiful, and so are all of you, my ladies and gents that are watching. So the question is, what about the black swan? Because the black swan is still prophesied, it's still predicted, pre-predicted, pre-programmed in the F1 film. The storm is still predicted in many, many films. Melania's done the regalia of when she was with President Trump 8 years ago, and he talked about the storm. So that's all going on. Then the other guy, the Russian-Ukraine guy, is it the Russian guy? Yeah, the Russian guy, tweeting about it all. Hey, Rainy Lady, thank you so much for your super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you. So the storm still has to come, you see. And so many of the times we're just early, effectively. That's one way to look at it. We're just early, but also it completes part of the mission. I'll have to dig up the bit on Tenet. They've actually taken it down. There's a bit where they describe what I'm talking about the red team, blue team, and I can't find it on the internet. I'm gonna have to make a copy of it myself and put it out for you. But this whole principle of doing things, and we're completing things on the blockchain, the consciousness blockchain that we're all part of. We're completing it. We're nodes on the network, and we're doing our jobs, and then it takes us to the next part. And even when the black swan arrives, it won't be over. It will just be a really massive event that will trigger all kinds of other events. So the question is, where is the black swan? Okay, now my opinion right now, and this is always subject to change, I go day by day with what the things I'm being told and feel. So in the F1 movie, and I've encouraged you guys and girls to watch it, it's worth a watch again if you haven't. They talk about pulling the plug. Ruben, played by I can't think of his name now. I can see his face. The Colombian, he's from the old country from old man. No Country for Old Men. What's his name? Javier Bardem. He's the team owner, and he says, I should pull the plug now. And then Brad Pitt says, you have till the end of the season. Now, if you look at the season schedule of F1 right now in real time, it goes on until early December in Abu Dhabi. In Abu Dhabi, they show an example of the RV. And then they come to a point where a miracle is required. They can't win the race, but they need something to change. And then they talk about red flag. Red flag is 53, which is sink, i.e. sinkholes. And miracle 61, which is many things, but one of them is you, but is also the word casino. Now, where is the home of casinos around the world? There's a few. I mean, the ones out in Asia, they're bigger, aren't they, I think? But the ones we know of are the ones in America. So you've got Atlantic City, but you've got Las Vegas. Now, where's the next American Grand Prix taking place? It's in Las Vegas. Las Vegas in numbers is 86, which comes to Tunnel, which comes to Black Swan. And the American football player in The Dark Knight Rises, on the back of his jersey, he's wearing number 86. And then he's got the name Ward, which is 46. And 46 is the word drain. So Las Vegas drain is 132, the life of Chuck. And if you go from the point of Charlie Kirk's assassination event, 39 days, it was yesterday. But go forward, it will take you up to November 22nd, which is the JFK's assassination. That's 73. 73 comes to sacrifice. And where's the F1 event at that time? It's in Las Vegas. So, and I could just be helping decode the next node, the next bit, maybe. But from the posts that I've shared, the Q post with Ivanka Trump, Q post 205, Matthew McConaughey 205. It's also my grandmother's name, Eileen Mary Adelaide Wood. It's also the point of Highlander. It's also the focal point in the end of the Batman movie, not the Nolan one, the Robert Pattinson one, who's in the film Tenet. Madison Square Garden 205. Spider-Man's featured there as well. Spider-Man, if you spell it, that's 131, John F. Kennedy with the dash. But the Q post 205 with Ivanka, where it says Death of the Triumvirate, it's Q post 205. But the date of that Q post is November 22nd, which is JFK. And there's also a key thing in the real time in terms of quantum and currencies and crypto. The ISO coins, there's an important deadline that is November 22nd. So, as with all of it, we will see, but could it be? So it's 11-9, which is the reversal on 9/11, Well, it's 911, 911. That's a reversal of yesterday, 11-9, because you dropped the 0 and it was 1-19, so 10-19 dropped the 0. Could it be then? Could it be then that something happens? The day of that race, the final race is on the 23rd, but the actual part of the qualifiers, and because they do 2 days of racing before, is on the Saturday, which is the events of JFK 62 years ago. 62 is the word shot. 62 is the word queen. The shot heard around the world. There's many shot heards around the world. One of them was JFK, obviously, massive one, and Charlie Kirk was another one. Do you remember Ivanka did the comms about the shot heard around the world? It looked like she was taking the shot, but then you zoomed in and found a Q code, and then it took you to something else that was telling you it was the kind of exact opposite of what was being portrayed in that image. I've been saying a long time Ivanka's massive in all of this. She's the one that activated me. We got 282 thumbs up, which is 88 miles per hour. Ivanka Trump 146, the trumpet, the universe, Truth Social, New Jerusalem. So, let's see, folks. Another thing, 589. So people know this about XRP, 589. You know that, yeah? So how about this? If you look at the aerial view of Las Vegas, and this is shown in the Sonny Hayes movie, the F1 movie, there's a part where Brad Pitt's talking about flying. Flying comes to 73 days from the point of Charlie Kirk through to JFK, November 22nd, 73 days. They brought out the film The Fly again this week here in England, last week. But flying, 73. Flies, 43. Book, 73. Law, 73. But flying, 73. Which is sacrifice its children. It's 25 plus 48. It's a lot of things. But people, okay, how about this? Who's watching right now and lives in Las Vegas or knows Las Vegas very well? Because I'm probably going to want some of you guys and girls to be my eyes and ears in Las Vegas right now. Anyone in Las Vegas? Yep, good point, Mevo. They're all valid. You lived in Las Vegas. Okay, so you'll be familiar with the road, the 589, which is, what was it called? It was called Sahara Avenue, 589. You know that? So 589 is a big thing in XRP. Okay, so you know the road I'm talking about. So Sahara Avenue in numbers comes to 116, which comes to country, comes to the election. It also comes to Thursday. Thursday is on the Hamilton watch in Interstellar. So when they're doing the communication between the dimensions, they clearly show Hamilton and then Thursday. The strip, so the strip comes to 115 if I've done it correctly. Bob, are you there? Who can do that for us? Strip. I believe strip is 82 and the strip is 115 in numbers. 115 in numbers comes to McConaughey, which comes to the deal, which comes to the election 11-5, and they've shown Matthew McConaughey. I knew he was in the timeline, and they've extrapolated it forward into the Q post with Ivanka, which is November 22nd, and there's a race going on there. If you do Formula One, let me get this right, Formula One Las Vegas Heineken Grand Prix, so the way they're advertising it, it comes to 355 in numbers. 355 comes to remember the 5th of November, but it also comes to the military industrial complex. It makes sense that Vegas would have a dome under there. I also found another dome yesterday. So as I was trying to tune in and watch the race in Circuit of the Americas, I was like, and it's not to say there isn't something under there anyway, probably still is. But as I was trying to find a place to watch it, I should watch the highlights later, but I was trying to watch it live. And one of the places I saw is you could watch it in Belgium if you logged into a channel in Belgium. But then you had to go through a whole bunch of things signing up, and they wanted you to put in your details. It didn't work in the end, but one of the things they wanted was to say, put an address in Belgium and a postcode. I was like, well, I don't live in Belgium. I was like, where can I get a postcode for Belgium? So I thought, football stadium. And then I thought of the football team, Genk. Genk, G-E-N-K. Genk is a football team in Belgium. So I looked that up, and the postcode was 3600, I believe. But the address is 322, and I was like, no way. So the football stadium is 322, and I was like, that I've just found out through the synchronicities and the connections and being led in a slightly different direction, because I wouldn't have looked that up otherwise, that there's one there. So there's one under that football stadium, Genk. And the other thing, the irony of this is the thing, folks. I know a football manager that used to manage Genk, and my friend Checkmate that I've mentioned, her full name comes to 169, Thomas Bushnell 169. Checkmate is 69 in Joy, Texas 69, Financial 69, Wealth 69, Thailand 69 for the dumb that, you know, the sinkhole over there. But she's from Czech. She's Czechoslovakian. But when I met her, and then the kind of first time we kind of hung out and went out, I guess on a date technically, kind of friends. You know, she was like a friend buddy of mine. But we went to my. This is how it works. We went to the football manager that I know. He lived in Fulham at the time, and we were going on. I lived in Hammersmith at the time. Hammer's 58, Ivanka. Smith is 69, Checkmate. So there you go. You can see how all this works. So we basically walked along the River Thames and then walked past his place in Fulham. We hung out all that evening. And I went to his place, and I took my friend with me, and we went to his home, and he had some football shirts, signed football shirts for me, because a few days later I was going over to New York, to Manhattan, to go and meet, to go to the football event, which I then serendipitously, on purpose, accidentally bumped into Ivanka Trump the next day. And so all these things happened. All these things happened, and now he's been drafted into the timeline. I didn't know he would be, but he's been drafted in, because there's that the team he worked for, it looks like they're part of the 322, which makes sense because all of them are. So that's just another piece of the timeline. That's another thing that's come up, which I wouldn't have known before. We've got 337 thumbs up, which is November 5th, 1955. So that's another because I've already been mentioning my friend Checkmate. I've been mentioning Michael Gambon. I've been mentioning Ivanka. I've been mentioning John Lithgow. They all tied to 192, which is October 19th. And then, so if you do this as well, so there's another one, what is it? I think it's in 63, let me check this. I think if you do in 73 days time, or in 73 days, something like that, comes to 192. I need to check it with you, but that takes you forward to the point with November 22nd with JFK, with the race, the F1 race, the prelim race in Vegas, and it's a night race. And night in numbers, not with a K, but just night, is 58, which is XRP, which is Ivanka. And you've got sneakers, which is 262, which is my cousin Paul, 262 plus XRP, 58. Takes you 320, which is also back to Tenet, which is Arepo, Opera, Sator, Rotas plus Tenet comes to 320, which is Liberty Light in the World, which is the Statue of Liberty's full name. The numbers first came to me at that point, across the water going towards the Statue of Liberty. And And the birth dates that came up were 1/18. 1/18 is my cousin Paul's birthday, and then the next day after that would be 1/19, and it's there at the feet of where it happened with 9/11. This is how it works, folks, you see. So we go down one, sometimes we have to bend around, but everything still is on time, even though I would like it in my 3D tabernacle, I'd like it to be done and dusted like you guys and girls would be. We've got 355 thumbs up. So this is confirming what I'm telling you. 355 thumbs up, which is, that's the thing of the Grand Prix in Vegas. So it might have been delayed, but I'm always on time. In fact, with this one, I might be early. So there we go, folks. That's what has transpired. That's what's happened. And we'll see what comes. We will see what comes. And so I guess I'll say with this now. So in my opinion, I mean, buckle up though. So the thing is, there could be lots of things that take place between now and that point. But I also do feel, and this is always subject to change because we know it's a living entity. It's a living consciousness that's getting us through all of this. But it feels to me that I guess the heat is off a little bit in terms of immediate days, but who knows, something could happen by then. But I do think it's highly likely that a series of events could be quite significant leading up to JFK's anniversary of November 22nd. That's what it feels like to me. And there'll be more information that comes along the way. So 589, this is the other one. So in the Sonny Hayes film, in the F1 film, you see Trump, Las Vegas in the background, and then you see the Venetian and Treasure Island. Treasure Island I stayed in 2019 and got a picture of Trump, Las Vegas, the year before COVID. I didn't know that was going to come, but it was all part of it. And then beyond that, you've got the road, the 589, which is 116, like I said, which is Thursday. The strip, I believe, is 115, which is McConaughey, which is Art of the Deal, which is Intelligence, which is 11/5, November 5th. But that road at the top, the north part of Las Vegas, just behind Trump, Las Vegas, is 589. So could that be a marker again on XRP? I think it is. I don't think that can't be observed. I never knew that until I started looking at the map today, trying to get a thing of the circuit. You've got the Sphere, you've got the new football stadium, the Allegiant football stadium down in the south part. But they show that. I always, when I'm in the cinema and I watch the F1 film and Trump Las Vegas pops up, I always go Trump. I just point it out. I just say it. Who's that guy saying Trump again? But I do it just because that's, just to point it out. It also flashes as well. You see the Trump sign and then it flashes just to the side. And then I say Trump. So 589, there's a 589 there in Vegas. So anyone that's local to Vegas or knows it, let us know in the comments. Tell us about anything and any significant things in Vegas, because I think that's the next marker in terms of this part of this narrative. I think that's the next marker. Matthew McConaughey, I've already mentioned him. Then he pops up on the tweets. Then I do his numbers, and then it points to Ivanka's Q post, which points to the whole thing with crypto and XRP, the collapsing of the triumvirate, the three, even 1115, 115, the strip, and McConaughey, 11.5. That's the word Trinity. Trinity, that's three. That I've met her. Neo. This is another one. Okay, so you know that my name, Tom Numbers, appears in the end credits of the film Heat. Heat is a great movie. Christopher Nolan loves the movie. I've met Al Pacino in person, and he was really kind and gregarious. I don't know what the real history of that, but that man at that point was really just nice with people, whereas De Niro and others weren't. Heat comes to 34. So if you do from October 19th, which was yesterday, which I thought would be the Black Swan, 86 Black Swan, because of the jersey number 86, tunnel 86, Highlander 86, but Las Vegas is 86 Black Swan. Las Vegas is 86 Black Swan. Formula, as in Formula 1, Formula 86. 17 days on from October 19th, takes you to November 5th. 17 days on from November 5th takes you to November 22nd. So 34 days, so 2 sets of 17, 17, 17, 34, DJT 34, Leap 34, Tam, Scottish name for Tom, 34, Neo 34, Grace 34, takes you to, Grace Kelly, she's going to pop up at some point, takes you to November 22nd. So 34 days from yesterday takes you to November 22nd. So folks, everything's still in play. But yeah, that was my thinking. That's my, I'm letting you in on my thought processes and the reasons, the things will put, I mean, the Purge, the final Purge, the film comes up with an emergency broadcast. It says it's Texas. Quantum physics in numbers is 206. The Dark Knight Rises 206, where they collapse a sports arena, a sinkhole effectively, and trigger a lockdown on a Black Swan event. 206 comes to Circuit of the Americas 206. Matthew McConaughey 145, red team, blue team. Numerology 145. Sonny Hayes 145, the Brad Pitt character. Matthews 90 comes to Brad Pitt 90, Boomerang. Economy 90. I put those together. Then it comes up on the timeline that they've tweeted a picture of Matthew McConaughey. The other thing, do you remember the last a couple of weeks ago that when all the Mormon stuff was kicking off, and that's not completed, there was a missing boy called Bruce Wayne Shelton. Shelton made me think of, or Sheldon made me think of that. What's that singer's name? The country singer guy, Blake Shelton. I looked him up when I saw that, and guess what his first song was? It was called Austin. Austin is 84. 84 is million. 84 is 40. You spell the word 40, well, 40, you spell the word 40. So it comes to 84. 40 is RV, if you know the number 40. US, us, 40. Even David, 40, with McConaughey's middle name. Not all Davids are good, though. Traditionally, they were. Not, you know, not all, but King David, a cheat. But there are good Davids, but there are bad ones. Freddy Krueger, Criminals, Criminal 85, Storm 85, you see. So all this all keeps going on. But I wonder how long Beckham will last as well on the board. I did a tweet about that. So the thing is, all these things are in play. Las Vegas is 86, which is Tunnel, which is Black Swan, and 86 is on the back of that guy's jersey. And then 322 I thought was the date, 292 plus day, 292, but 322 is military industrial complex, and the military industrial complex is 355, which comes to Formula One, Heineken Las Vegas Grand Prix. So we'll see, folks. That will either be something there or it will trigger us onto the next one. You know, back in the days when we would, well, anciently, we would communicate via beacons. Don't let your light hide under a bushel. So you'd communicate miles away on one beacon, one mountain, you set a fire, and then that gets the message to the next one. And then that one's able to set up a message and then get it to the next one. And that's what we're like. We're like nodes on the blockchain, on the network. And we're completing the puzzle, and eventually it will be completed. We would obviously have hoped it would be yesterday and prior to that. But it is coming, folks. It is coming. And the Black Swan still has to take place. And the timeline in that F1 movie talks about up to the end of the season. But they do an RV effectively before they even win the race. Then a miracle happens. Miracle 61 Casino, the home of casinos, is Las Vegas. So President Trump had, you know, he had casinos. He had to know the game. The other one as well. So Chelsea Football Club. Chelsea Football Club is 174. Hey, folks. 174 is currency exchange. President Trump gave the trophy, the crypto trophy, to the football team. gave the trophy to the football team, Chelsea Football Club, when they won the World Club Championship, which was a new type of championship, new format, much bigger tournament than it's been before, which was done in the summer, the soccer tournament. You got the World Cup next year, in 2026. 226 is something to do with the humanitarian funds, but that would make sense as well on the timeline. But Real Donald Trump 174, Chelsea Football Club 174, Trust the Plan 174, the Quantum Leap 174, Currency Exchange 174, Currency Reset 174, and guess what President Trump's building in Las Vegas is? Trump Las Vegas is 174. And just north of it, like half a mile, whatever it is the 589 road, which is Sahara Avenue, Avenue 68 Barron, 68 Mar-a-Lago. Sahara, I only knew this just now, didn't know it until a couple hours ago, comes to 48 Zim, 48 Tom, 48 Brave. There you go. 93 Bushnell Strong. Interesting enough as well, Viktor Orban, so he's going to help with that, the ending of the Ukraine war. They call him Mini Trump, don't they? Kind of like the Eastern European Trump. His birthday is May 31st, 1963, so the year of Kennedy. But also my cousin Paul, bless him, passed away, changed over on May 31st of 2015. So there's a connection there with Paul and with Viktor Orban. And I even did some calculations today. I was talking to ChatGPT or Grok on it, and they got it incorrect. And I knew it was incorrect, but it actually corresponded to Paul. So it went 144, that's the frequency, and then I was like, no, it's this, and then it went to 143. And then I checked it again, 143 is Paul's name, Paul Bushnell, Tesseract, the Tesseract 143, Melania Trump 143, the President 143, Ground Zero 143, Building 7 143, November 5th 143. And I realised, and it's also the Hamilton watch, that's on 143 as well, but I realised, hang on, that's not correct. And it wasn't. They actually got it wrong. So I had to correct it and take it through the AI and correct it. But it was basically Paul saying hello, that I was on track with all the stuff I've just said to you. So that's how it works, folks. This is how it works. And we got 1,046. 146 is Ivanka Trump, 146. And then we got 45, 458 thumbs up. 45 is Spade Effect. And 58 is XRP Ivanka. God bless you all, folks. I appreciate it. Hit the like button and the hype. And I will see you tomorrow. And any good information on Vegas, please do put it in the chat. And anywhere else, you know some of the more key numbers now. So I'm just going to keep running towards the goal line with you. And if I feel like I have to not say certain things, I still give myself permission to do that. But right now, I feel like we've just got to complete as many of these pieces of the puzzle of the blockchain, the Q blockchain, effectively, the consciousness blockchain. Consciousness is 175, and that actually one of the numbers that I was looking at when Grok or ChatGPT said it was 144. I was like, no, 143 for Paul. But then I was like, no, I checked it. I was like, no, that's not even the case. And they said 174, which I've already mentioned, but it's actually 175, which is consciousness. So it all comes round, folks. It all comes round. It all comes round. So lots of love, folks. I'll see you tomorrow. And also, if you were thinking about it, but because of the things I was saying, I think you've got time now to get yourself a Halo scaler if you want. I think you'd have time to get it and get it delivered before something super major. That's my honest thoughts on it right now. So links are below. God bless you, folks. Much love. I'll speak to you tomorrow. You take care. Bye.